Hello, fellow crafters. This is Yana Smakula for SimonsSTM.com. Welcome back for another Yippee For Yana video. Today I'm creating with the Simon Says stamp new Spring Flowers background stamp to make a Hello Sweet Friend card. The technique in this video shows how to color flowers for your handmade cards to have them appear white. While it seems like a no-brainer, white is white, it is actually very hard to color white flowers on a card. I started to work on my project by stamping the Spring Flowers background stamp in alcohol marker-friendly ink using my Misty stamping tool. I'm using Hero Art's intensified black ink today and stamping images onto Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I did stamp this several times to have a nice, crisp impression on my paper. Next, I picked several colors of Copic markers to do my coloring. Nothing too crazy, just a handful of colors. I did practice coloring this background on a scrap piece of paper, and that helped me pick the colors of the markers I liked the best. Sometimes I go directly to my project when it comes to coloring, but other times when I'm not entirely sure, I always practice on scrap paper, and that is very helpful. I started by coloring the flower centers using a B34 marker, just a nice medium shade blue. I will add additional detail to the flower centers later using a white gel pen, and you'll see me do that at the end of this video. Next, to color my flowers white, I used a light gray marker. This is C1, and I simply added shadows onto each of the flower folds. Now, this is very easy to do. It doesn't take away from the whiteness of the flowers, yet it adds a bit of shading and helps the flowers look dimensional and not completely flat on the paper. If you want, you can use two gray markers, perhaps a medium and a light gray, if you want to intensify the shadows. Using a light gray marker felt like enough for this project, and you can see how the flowers instantly gain dimension on the background. Now, this flower pattern also has pretty leaves. I picked the G21 marker to color the leaves green. I later came in with a medium and a dark green and colored the leaves using YG63 and G94 markers to add shading and dimension. I love to create dark backgrounds for my cards, especially for flower cards, as I feel like a dark background helps the images pop. I even have several dark walls in my apartment, including a completely black wall. And believe me, when I place flowers on a table against that wall, those flowers instantly grab the attention and pop against the darkness of the wall. I wanted to recreate the same effect here. Instead of black, I used a very dark blue marker. This is B39. I typically prefer to use B99 marker, but that one is in a desperate need of a refill. And while the refills are on the way to my craft corner, I'm using other dark blue markers from my stash to have a similar effect. Coloring a background in takes time, especially if you want to do two coats, which I did here. I take it slow and meticulously color the negative space. You'll notice that I haven't yet colored the little berries. The reason is I wasn't sure if I wanted to color them pink or yellow, so I left that to color last while I worked on the background. Now here's what the background looks like when colored. This is one layer and you can see it is very uneven. If you like the unevenness, keep it like that. But if you don't, add another layer of that dark blue. Now this is my test piece with pink and yellow berries. My hubby said he liked the yellow better, so I went with yellow, and after all, yellow and blue do make a fabulous color combo. I used Y08 marker as the lightest yellow, Y15 as a medium yellow, and then added a little bit of Y17 as the darkest yellow later. I also added shading to the leaves using the colors I mentioned earlier, the YG63 and G94. Having colored the background this dark, deep blue color, I faced one problem. The stems of the leaves and berries became invisible on the background, and the leaves and berries now looked like They were floating and not attached to anything on the pattern. I wasn't quite sure how to fix that. I thought about using a black pen and intensifying those black lines, but later decided to use a white pen and instead make the stems white. I'm glad I went with the white option, as that really made quite a difference on this background. I used a white Sakura pen in size 0.8 to create the stems, and I also later used the same pen to add white dots to the flower centers. Off to the side, you can see I already have a two-piece sentiment created. I white heat embossed Hello and Sweet Friend using stamps from the new Summer Roses stamp set from Gina K and Simon Says Stamp. I die cut the Hello out using a coordinating die. I love the size of the sentiment and also the font used here. It makes for a perfect size Hello for a card. At first, I stamped the sentiment on white cardstock, but having that much white, it looked lost on the card. Black background for the sentiment worked a lot better. I foam mounted the Hello onto the background, and I also foam mounted the Sweet Friend sentiment strip. I added a double layer foam adhesive to the right hand side of the strip. The sentiment overlapped the Hello, and I had one layer of foam adhesive over the Hello. So to level everything, I needed to add a double layer of foam adhesive to the other side of the strip to have everything nice and even. I adhered the background onto A2 white card base, and then used gorgeous sequins from Simon to embellish the card. I adhered them in place using my trusty Crystal Katana tool and Kuretake two-way glue pen. I love using this pen lately to adhere little embellishments such as sequins. I love the way this card turned out, and I hope you found this video useful and you will give this idea a try. If you make a card inspired by this video, we'd love it if you shared your project online and tagged us on social media. We always enjoy seeing what you guys are making. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Bye!